The bed was cold when I woke up. Not just empty. Cold, like Cassandra had been gone for hours. I rolled over to check my phone. 7:43 a.m., her birthday, and no wife in sight. Happy birthday to me, I guess, I muttered, stumbling toward the kitchen of our smart home in suburban Massachusetts. The coffee maker had already brewed her usual morning cup, programmed the night before. Steam rose from the untouched mug like a ghost. My phone buzzed. A text from Cassandra. Be back tomorrow. Don't wait up. That was it. No explanation, no sorry, no kiss my ass. Just a digital middle finger on her 35th birthday. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. I'm Julian Albright, software engineer, professional problem solver, and apparently the world's most clueless husband. At 38, I thought I understood my wife's patterns. Cassandra Vance, she kept her maiden name for real estate, was ambitious, driven, sometimes cold, but disappearing on her own birthday? That was new territory. I checked our joint credit card account while drinking her abandoned coffee. The bitter taste matched my mood perfectly when I saw the charge, $847.50 at the Zenith Resort. Yesterday, while I'd been planning a surprise dinner. Because nothing says I love you like a birthday ghosting, I said to our empty kitchen. 26 hours later, Cassandra waltzed through our front door like nothing happened. Designer sunglasses despite the evening hour, that particular glow that comes from expensive spa treatments. Hey, babe, she said, not quite meeting my eyes. Miss me? Where were you? I kept my voice level, curious rather than accusatory. The Zenith. Tiffany surprised me with a girls' weekend. She dropped her overnight bag with practiced casualness. I needed space to think. On your birthday? I'm a grown-up, Julian. Her voice carried that edge I'd been hearing more often lately. I don't need permission to leave. Something in her tone made my stomach clench. Not guilt, defiance, like she was daring me to push harder. Of course not, I said, stepping closer. I just worried when you disappeared. I hugged her, breathing in expensive perfume I didn't recognize. While her arms reluctantly circled my back, my fingers found her phone in her jacket pocket. I'm going to shower, she announced, pulling away. Long drive. Sure thing, I'll order dinner. The moment her footsteps hit the stairs, I was scrolling through her phone. Muscle memory from our early dating days when we'd playfully steal each other's devices. Back then, it was cute. Now it felt necessary. Her Instagram showed nothing recent, but Tiffany Black's story was a goldmine. Boomerangs of poolside cocktails, luxury suite views, and Cassandra clinking glasses with two men. One was tagged, "A Dom Russo Realtor." Dominic Russo. I knew that name from Cassandra's work complaints. Rival realtor, arrogant, the kind of guy who drove a Porsche to grocery stores. The timestamp on Tiffany's posts matched Cassandra's disappearance exactly. In one boomerang, Cassandra's manicured hand rested on Dom's thigh while she threw her head back, laughing. Next time, cheat with someone whose friend isn't a social media addict, I whispered. But it got worse. Hidden in Cassandra's cloud backup, we'd shared passwords years ago for convenience. I found a folder labeled Zenith Fun. Videos Tiffany had taken, including one where Cassandra read my worried texts aloud in a mocking voice, while Dom and another man laughed. Hope you're having fun, miss you already, Cassandra had mimicked in the video. God, he's so needy, like having a golden retriever. Dom's voice off camera. At least dogs are loyal. More laughter. I sat in our basement office until 3 a.m., watching those videos on repeat. Each viewing crystallized something cold and sharp in my chest. Not heartbreak. That would come later. This was clarity. If she thinks I'm just broken code, I said to the empty room, she's about to see what a true system crash looks like. Riley Chen had been my college roommate, back when we thought we'd change the world through better software. Now he ran an auto shop in downtown Millbrook, hands permanently stained with motor oil, but still sharp as ever. You want to track someone's car? Riley raised an eyebrow over his morning coffee. We were in his shop's office, surrounded by invoices and the smell of brake fluid. Dom Russo, silver Porsche Cayenne. I slid him a photo I'd pulled from Dom's Instagram. Consider it a favor for an old friend. This about Cassandra? Maybe. Riley studied my face, then reached into his desk drawer. GPS tracker, magnetic mount, battery lasts 2 weeks. He tossed me a device the size of a matchbox. Officially, I never saw you. Thanks, man. Julian? Riley's voice stopped me at the door. Whatever she did, don't do anything stupid. Define stupid. Anything that lands you in jail. I found Dom's Porsche parked outside Cassandra's real estate office that afternoon, the tracker attached under the rear bumper with a satisfying click. Phase 1 complete. That evening, I started documenting everything. Financial records, social media screenshots, timeline reconstruction. My software background made me methodical. Every good hack starts with reconnaissance. I also quietly moved my salary to a private account, leaving just enough in our joint checking to avoid immediate suspicion. If Cassandra wanted independence, she could start with financial reality. Friday night found me at the Rusty Anchor, Millbrook's dive bar where real estate agents went to complain about clients. I'd never been much of a drinker, but grief makes you try new things. Julian! Big Mike, the bartender, waved me over. Don't usually see you here. Trying to expand my horizons. Smart man. What'll it be? Whatever's on tap. The beer tasted like disappointment, but it gave me cover. 20 minutes later, Cassandra and Tiffany claimed a corner booth, voices carrying in the Friday night crowd. Dom says Julian's a joke. Cassandra laughed, loud enough for half the bar to hear. Never stands up for himself. Just accepts whatever I tell him. Tiffany giggled. That suite at Zenith was incredible. The view from the bedroom. Worth every penny, Cassandra agreed. Though Dom paid for most of it. What about Julian? What about him? He's too passive to ever leave. Too boring to fight back. Perfect husband for a woman who needs freedom. I finished my beer and left cash on the bar. Big Mike caught my eye and nodded. He'd heard everything too. Back home, I hacked Cassandra's work calendar. Software engineers have certain advantages in the digital age. Her schedule showed another girls' spa weekend planned for the following Friday. Same resort. Time for Phase 2. Saturday morning, I disabled Cassandra's BMW remotely. Nothing dramatic, just a software glitch that would prevent the engine from starting. The beauty of modern cars is how much they depend on computers. Julian! Cassandra's voice echoed through the house. My car won't start. That's weird, I called from my office. Want me to call AAA? No, I'll figure it out. Through my window, I watched her make a phone call. 20 minutes later, Dom's silver Porsche pulled into our driveway. Cassandra climbed into the passenger seat, leaning over to kiss his cheek before they drove away. My phone buzzed immediately. Big Mike. Saw your wife getting cozy with Dom Russo in his Porsche. Thought you should know. I texted back, thanks, buy yourself a drink on me. That afternoon, I had flowers delivered to Cassandra's office. 24 white roses with a card, enjoy your independence. J. She came home that evening with storm clouds in her eyes. What's with the flowers? Thought you might like them. The message was weird. I looked up from my laptop. How so? Enjoy your independence. What does that mean? Exactly what it says. You're a grown-up, remember? You don't need permission. Her face went pale. For a moment, I saw uncertainty flicker across her features. Then the defiance returned. That's right. I don't. Monday morning brought an interesting phone call. Ms. Holloway, Cassandra's boss at Pinnacle Realty, had a crisp, no-nonsense voice. Mr. Albright, We need to discuss a complaint Cassandra filed about client poaching. Can you come in this afternoon? Client poaching? She claims a rival agent is stealing her listings through unethical means. I'd like your perspective on her recent stress levels. My sarcastic inner voice perked up. Oh, I'm all ears. I'll be there at 3. Pinnacle Realty occupied a glass-walled building that screamed success and ambition. Ms. Holloway's office matched, all clean lines and expensive furniture that said, "Don't waste my time." Cassandra seems distracted lately, Ms. Holloway began. Missing appointments, incomplete paperwork. She blames it on harassment from Dominic Russo. Dom Russo? You know him? Cassandra mentions him sometimes. Competitor, right? Among other things. Ms. Holloway's expression suggested she knew more than she was saying. Has your wife seemed troubled at home? I pretended to consider this. She's been taking more personal time lately. Girls' weekends, spa trips. Says she needs space to recharge. I see. Ms. Holloway made a note. And these trips, they help her mood? Hard to say. She comes back more distant, if anything. Interesting. Another note. Mr. Albright, I'm going to ask something delicate. Do you have any reason to believe Cassandra and Mr. Russo have a relationship beyond professional rivalry? There it was, the opening I'd been hoping for. I wouldn't want to speculate, I said carefully, but she did spend her birthday weekend at the Zenith Resort. Said it was with girlfriends. Ms. Holloway's pen stopped moving. The Zenith? That's expensive for a girl's trip. $847 on our joint card. I assumed Tiffany was treating her. Tiffany Black? Cassandra's friend. She posted photos on Instagram. Cassandra at the resort with some men. One was tagged as Dom Russo. Ms. Holloway leaned forward. You have these photos? I pulled out my phone, showing her the screenshots I'd saved. Her expression grew colder with each image. Mr. Albright, I think there's more to this client poaching complaint than I realized. By Wednesday, I had enough evidence to end 3 careers. Screenshots, bank statements, GPS tracking data showing Dom's car at our house while I was at work, and most damning, recordings from Tiffany's social media stories that contradicted every lie Cassandra had told. The anonymous tip I sent to Pinnacle Realty's ethics board was a masterpiece of careful documentation. Real estate agents can't manipulate clients for personal gain, can't share confidential information with competitors, and definitely can't falsify harassment claims to cover their tracks. I didn't mention the affair directly. Didn't need to. The evidence painted a clear picture of Cassandra and Dom working together, sharing client lists, coordinating to steal high-value properties from other agents. Thursday evening found me back at the Rusty Anchor, nursing another beer I didn't want, while Tiffany Black held court at the bar. 3 cocktails in, she was showing her phone to anyone who'd listen. Look at this drama, she slurred, scrolling through Instagram. Cassie's boss is asking questions about her and Dom, like, why does everyone think they're together? I moved closer, pretending to study the bar's sports memorabilia. They're just friends, Tiffany continued. Sure, they went to Zenith together for her birthday, but I was there too. Well, most of the time. Most of the time? The guy next to her took the bait. I mean, I left early Sunday. They wanted to discuss business. Business. Right. I accidentally bumped into Tiffany as she put her phone down. Sorry, I said, steadying her elbow. Clumsy me. No worries, honey. She squinted at me. Don't I know you? Julian Albright, Cassandra's husband. Her face went white. Oh shit. Julian, hi. How much did you hear? Hear what? About Zenith. It wasn't, we were all just friends hanging out. I smiled sadly. Tiffany, I know about the photos you posted, the ones with Dom. Her hand flew to her mouth. Those were we were all having fun. It didn't mean anything. I'm sure it didn't. But maybe you should be more careful about tagging people in compromising situations. She fumbled for her phone, fingers shaking as she tried to delete the old stories. Too late, of course. I'd saved everything. Julian, please don't tell Cassie I said anything. Said anything about what? She stared at me, realizing she'd just confirmed what I already knew. Friday morning brought the confrontation I'd been dreading and anticipating in equal measure. Cassandra burst into my office, phone in hand, face flushed with anger. What did you do? I looked up from my computer. Good morning to you too. Don't play dumb. Someone sent the ethics board photos of me and Dom at Zenith. Photos from Tiffany's Instagram. That's terrible. Who would do such a thing? Cut the shit, Julian. I know it was you. I leaned back in my chair, studying her face. You think I sent anonymous tips to your employer? I know you did. Can you prove it? Her mouth opened and closed like a fish. You went through my phone. Did I? The Instagram photos were posted publicly by your best friend. Anyone could have seen them. But what, Cassandra? Noticed my wife disappeared on her birthday? Saw the credit card charges? Asked questions when you came home glowing from your girls' weekend? She took a step back. You're being paranoid. Am I? I stood up, moving around the desk. Let me ask you something. When you were laughing about my texts with Dom and his friend, did you think Tiffany would keep those videos private forever? All color drained from her face. What videos? The ones where you mock me for being worried about you. Call me needy like a golden retriever. Laugh about how I'm too passive to ever leave. Her phone slipped from nerveless fingers. Julian, I can explain. Can you? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you've been playing house with Dom Russo while treating me like an idiot. And now your boss is asking uncomfortable questions about ethics violations. It's not what you think? Then tell me what it is. Silence stretched between us. Finally, she whispered, I need space to figure things out. Space? You've had plenty of space. At luxury resorts, in Dom's car, in his bed, I'm guessing. Julian? No. My voice was steel. You wanted independence? You've got it. But independence comes with consequences. Her phone buzzed on the floor. A text from Dom. We're in trouble. The firm's investigating both of us. Someone leaked everything. They know about the client sharing. Cassandra's confidence cracked like ice in spring. For the first time in months, she looked genuinely afraid. What did you do? She whispered. I smiled without warmth. I gave you exactly what you asked for. Freedom. Saturday morning, I sent Dom a text from Cassandra's phone. Everything's falling apart. Meet me at Julian's dad's cabin on Lake Winnipesaukee. We need to figure this out. Come alone. My father's old fishing cabin sat on a secluded cove, accessible only by a winding dirt road. Perfect for a private conversation. I arrived first, parking behind the cabin where my car wouldn't be visible from the road. The October air was crisp, leaves turning brilliant colors that would have been beautiful under different circumstances. Dom's Porsche announced itself long before it appeared, the sound of expensive engineering echoing off the water. He parked near the dock and climbed out, looking around nervously. Cassandra? He called. Where are you? I stepped out from behind a pine tree. She's not coming. Dom spun around, his face cycling through confusion, recognition, and fear. Julian? What the hell are you doing here? Having a conversation. Where's Cassandra? Home, probably wondering why her boyfriend isn't answering his phone. I held up his device. I'd pickpocketed it while he was getting out of the car, old habits from my college magic club days. Give me my phone. In a minute. First, we talk. Dom was bigger than me, broader shoulders from what I assumed was an expensive gym membership, but he was also soft in the way of men who'd never been in a real fight. Talk about what? About how you're going to disappear from my wife's life. He laughed, the sound harsh in the quiet woods. You can't be serious. Absolutely serious. Julian, I hate to break it to you, but Cassandra doesn't want to be married anymore. She's been looking for an exit strategy for months. Is that what she told you? Among other things. His confidence was returning. She says you're boring, predictable, that living with you is like being married to a computer program. Each word was designed to hurt, and they did. But pain can be fuel if you know how to burn it. Funny thing about computer programs, I said. They're very good at solving problems. What's that supposed to mean? Instead of answering, I walked to his car and dropped his keys into the lake. They disappeared with a small splash. What the hell? Dom lunged toward me, but I'd already stepped back. Relax, it's just metal and plastic. Those keys cost $300. Bill me. Dom's face flushed red. You're insane. Maybe. But I'm not the one who's about to lose his real estate license for ethics violations. His expression shifted. What are you talking about? Client poaching, sharing confidential information with competitors, falsifying harassment claims. Ring any bells? You can't prove any of that. I don't have to. The ethics board will do their own investigation, and when they subpoena phone records, credit card statements, and social media accounts, I shrugged. Well, you know how thorough these professional organizations can be. Dom took a step toward me, hands clenched into fists. You little shit. I didn't back down. Go ahead. Hit me. Give me something else to report. For a moment, I thought he might actually swing. Then his phone buzzed in my hand, a text from someone named Melissa with a heart emoji. Dinner at 7? Kids miss you? Melissa? I read aloud. Kids? Dom, you didn't mention you were married? His face went pale. Give me the phone. Does Cassandra know about your family? It's complicated. I bet it is. I scrolled through more messages. Looks like Melissa thinks you're working late a lot lately. Business trips to luxury resorts. Very dedicated of you. Julian, please. Please what? Please don't tell your wife that you've been cheating on her with my wife. Please don't forward these romantic texts between you and Cassandra to Melissa's phone. You wouldn't. I looked at him, really looked. Saw the desperation creeping in around his eyes, the way his expensive clothes suddenly seemed like a costume. You're right, I said finally. I wouldn't. But I don't have to. I tossed his phone to him. He caught it, fumbling. What do you mean? Check your messages. Dom's face went through several expressions as he read. What? How did? Tiffany's been very helpful. Turns out she screenshots everything, including your texts with Cassandra about leaving your respective spouses. Very romantic stuff. She wouldn't. She already did. Sent them to Melissa an hour ago, along with the Zenith photos. Dom stared at his phone like it had turned into a snake. My wife. She's calling. Better answer it. He looked at me with something approaching hatred. This isn't over. Yes, it is. I started walking toward the woods where I'd hidden my car. And Dom, next time you want to steal someone's life, make sure they're actually as passive as you think. I left him standing by the lake, keyless car and exploding marriage, while I drove home through the autumn afternoon. Monday morning brought news that spread through Millbrook's real estate community like wildfire. Both Cassandra and Dom had been suspended pending investigation. By Tuesday, the local newspaper picked up the story. By Wednesday, it was social media gold. Tiffany, desperate to distance herself from the scandal, had become a one-woman leak machine. Screenshots of private conversations, behind-the-scenes videos from Zenith, even recordings of Cassandra and Dom plotting to manipulate client listings. I had no idea they were using me, Tiffany told anyone who'd listen. I thought we were just friends having fun. The truth was messier. Tiffany had known exactly what was happening, but hadn't cared until the consequences reached her own social circle. Now, she was in full damage control mode, throwing her former best friend under the bus with impressive thoroughness. Cassandra tried to rally support, But Millbrook was a small town with a long memory. The real estate community closed ranks against agents who broke the rules. Other industries followed suit. Nobody wanted to associate with scandal. Thursday evening, I found myself back at the Rusty Anchor. Not hiding this time, just observing the social dynamics of a woman losing her place in the world. Cassandra sat alone at the bar, nursing a martini and staring at her phone. The usual crowd gave her a wide berth, not quite shunning, but definitely not welcoming. "Rough week?" I asked, taking the stool next to her. She looked up, eyes red-rimmed. "Come to gloat?" "Just checking on my wife." "Your wife?" She laughed bitterly. "Right, the wife who's about to lose her job, her friends, and her reputation. The wife who chose to throw away her marriage for a man who was also married." "You don't understand." "I understand perfectly. You wanted excitement, freedom, someone who made you feel special." I signaled Big Mike for a beer. "How's that working out?" "Dom's wife filed for divorce. She's taking the kids to her mother's in California." "That's rough. He blames me, says I ruined his life." "Did you?" She stared into her martini. "I don't know anymore. Everything seemed so clear a week ago." "What was clear?" "That I was unhappy, that you were safe, but boring, that I deserved more." "And now?" "Now I'm unemployed, friendless, and my husband is talking to me like a stranger." I sipped my beer, tasting victory and finding it more bitter than expected. "What did you expect, Cassandra?" "I expected you to fight for me." The honesty in her voice caught me off guard. "Fight how?" "Demand I choose, make a scene, show some passion. You mean make it easy for you to paint me as controlling, give you justification for what you were already doing?" She had no answer for that. "You know what the real problem was?" I continued. "You thought I was weak because I trusted you, thought I was boring because I didn't play games. But strength isn't always loud, and trust isn't the same as stupidity. Julian, I'm not done." My voice stayed level, but something in it made her flinch. "You wanted me to fight for you?" "I did. I fought smart. I fought with evidence and consequences and the truth. I fought like someone who actually understood the stakes. By destroying my career? By letting your choices have consequences. There's a difference." Big Mike appeared with my beer and a bowl of pretzels. "Drinks on the house tonight, Julian, celebrating your independence." The words carried clearly in the suddenly quiet bar. A few people chuckled. Cassandra's face flushed red. "Thanks, Mike. Independence is underrated." Cassandra stood abruptly, grabbing her purse. "I can't do this." "Do what?" "Pretend we can have a normal conversation. Pretend you didn't systematically destroy everything I worked for." "I didn't destroy anything. I just stopped protecting you from the consequences of your actions." She stared at me for a long moment. "I don't know who you are anymore." "I'm the same person I've always been. You just never bothered to look close enough to see it." She walked out without another word. The bar stayed quiet for about 10 seconds before conversations resumed. I finished my beer and left a generous tip. Outside, my sister Maggie was leaning against my car. At 33, she had the sharp features and sharper tongue that ran in our family. "Saw Cassandra storm out," she said. "Figured you might need backup." "I'm fine." "Sure you are?" She studied my face. "Find anything interesting in her purse last week?" I looked at her sharply. "What?" "When I was helping her move some boxes from the office, her purse fell over. Phone fell out. Burner phone." "Burner phone?" "Cheap Android. Had maybe a dozen messages on it. All from Dom, all about contingency plans if you ever became a problem." "What kind of contingency plans?" "Harassment claims, restraining orders, making you look unstable if you ever found out about the affair." Maggie's expression was grim. "They were planning to destroy you if you got in the way." The betrayal hit deeper than the affair. They hadn't just been cheating, they'd been preparing to ruin my life if I discovered it. "Where's the phone now?" Cassandra's purse, I assume, but I took photos of the messages. She showed me screenshots that made my stomach turn, detailed discussions of how to manipulate the legal system, create false evidence, even plant things in my computer to suggest I was stalking Cassandra. They were going to frame me. Looks like it. I leaned against my car, processing this new level of betrayal. Maggie, I need you to do something for me. Name it. There's a gala at the Zenith Resort tomorrow night. Millbrook Business Association's annual awards. Can you get us invitations? Probably. Why? Because it's time to end this properly. The Zenith Resort's ballroom glittered with the kind of understated elegance that cost serious money. Millbrook's business elite had turned out in force. Real estate agents, bank executives, local politicians, and the social media influencers who documented their lives. Maggie had secured us invitations through her marketing firm's sponsorship. We sat at a table near the back, perfect for observation and quick exits. There. Maggie nodded toward the entrance. 12 o'clock. Cassandra walked in alone, wearing a black dress that probably cost more than most people's rent. She looked beautiful and desperate in equal measure, the kind of desperation that comes from having nothing left to lose. Dom was conspicuously absent. According to my sources, Big Mike heard everything. He'd left town after his wife cleaned out their joint accounts and filed for divorce. She looks terrible, Maggie observed. She was right. Beneath the makeup and expensive clothes, Cassandra looked hollow. The confident woman who'd dismissed me as boring and passive had been replaced by someone who jumped at shadows. Ladies and gentlemen, the master of ceremonies announced, welcome to our annual celebration of business excellence. The evening proceeded through the usual ritual of awards, speeches, and networking. I watched Cassandra try to work the room, approaching former colleagues who gave her polite but cold responses. She was being professionally shunned, not actively hostile, just irrelevant. During the Real Estate Excellence Awards, Ms. Holloway took the stage. This year has reminded us that integrity isn't just a nice ideal, it's the foundation of our industry, she said. We've had to make difficult decisions about agents who forgot that trust is our most valuable commodity. The room knew she was talking about Cassandra and Dom without naming names. Cassandra's face burned red from her table near the front. And now, Ms. Holloway continued, we have a special presentation from one of our community members. This wasn't on the program. I felt Maggie tense beside me. Tiffany Black took the stage, phone in hand and looking nervous but determined. Hi everyone. I wanted to share something that's been weighing on me. Her voice carried clearly through the ballroom's sound system. Sometimes we enable bad behavior without meaning to. Sometimes we need to face the truth about people we thought we knew. She connected her phone to the presentation system. I'm going to show you some videos I took a few weeks ago. I thought they were just fun memories. Now I realize they show something else entirely. The screen behind her lit up with footage from the Zenith Resort. Cassandra and Dom by the pool, hands intertwined. Cassandra reading my worried texts aloud in a mocking voice. Dom laughing about loyal dogs and boring husbands. The ballroom went quiet, but Tiffany wasn't finished. More videos followed, Cassandra and Dom in his car discussing which clients to steal from other agents. Screenshots of text messages about manipulating the ethics board, creating false harassment claims, even their backup plan to destroy me if I became a problem. I thought I was helping a friend, Tiffany said, her voice shaking. Instead, I was documenting crimes. The room erupted. Cameras flashed as people turned to stare at Cassandra, who sat frozen at her table. Some attendees were already pulling out phones, recording her reaction. Then Dom's wife, Melissa, walked onto the stage. I flew in from California, she announced, because I wanted everyone to know what kind of man my soon-to-be ex-husband really is. She began reading from Dom's text messages, not just the affair details, but his plans to leave both wives once he'd stolen enough clients to start his own agency. his contempt for small-town idiots who trusted him with their biggest financial decisions. Cassandra tried to leave, but the ballroom exits were blocked by curious onlookers. She was trapped in her chair while her entire life unraveled in high definition. The final blow came when Melissa revealed Dom's criminal history, a fraud conviction in New York that he'd hidden from the Massachusetts Licensing Board. Everything he'd touched professionally was now legally contaminated. "My children ask why Daddy isn't coming home," Melissa said. "I tell them that some people choose selfishness over family. Some people think other people's lives are just toys to play with." She looked directly at Cassandra. "But toys break when you play too rough." The presentation ended to stunned silence. Then someone started clapping, slow, deliberate applause that spread through the room. Not celebration, but acknowledgement. Justice served cold and public. I found Cassandra in the parking lot an hour later, sitting on the hood of a taxi, still in her gala dress, but with her shoes in her hand. "Waiting for your ride?" I asked. She looked up, mascara streaked down her cheeks. "My car was repossessed this morning. Turns out Dom had been using my credit for his business expenses." "That's rough." "Is it?" Her voice was hollow. "Or is it just another consequence I didn't see coming?" "Probably both." She stared at the resort's lit windows. "Did you plan all this?" "Some of it. Tiffany and Melissa made their own choices." "But you orchestrated it." "I provided information. Other people decided what to do with it." "Same thing." "Not really. I never forced you to cheat, never made you mock me behind my back, never told you to plan my destruction if I found out." I sat on the taxi's bumper beside her. "I just stopped protecting you from the consequences." "I loved him," she whispered. "Did you? Or did you love the idea of him?" She had no answer. "You know what the funny thing is?" I continued. "You were right about me being passive. I was. I let you walk all over me for months because I thought that's what marriage meant, accepting your partner's flaws. And now? Now I know the difference between accepting flaws and enabling destruction." The taxi driver honked impatiently. "I have to go," Cassandra said. "Where?" "My mother's, in Florida. She's not happy about it, but she'll let me stay until I figure things out." "What will you figure out?" "How to rebuild a life from nothing." She looked at me with something that might have been respect. "You really did it, didn't you? You destroyed everything I worked for." "No," I said quietly. "You did that. I just made sure everyone could see it clearly." She got into the taxi without another word. I watched the taillights disappear down the resort's winding driveway, carrying away the woman I'd married and the life we'd built together. My phone buzzed. A text from Riley. "Saw the news. You okay?" I typed back, "Better than okay. I'm free." And for the first time in months, that felt completely true. Walking back toward the resort, I passed Dom's abandoned Porsche in the parking lot. Someone had written "cheater" across the windshield in lipstick, and the interior smelled like the shrimp I'd stuffed in the air vents earlier. Small satisfactions, but satisfying nonetheless. Inside the ballroom, the party was winding down. Maggie found me at the bar. "How do you feel?" she asked. "Like I just watched my old life burn down." "Good riddance?" I considered this, sipping a whiskey that tasted like smoke and new beginnings. "You know what Cassandra said to me? That she expected me to fight for her, make a scene, show passion. Instead, you showed intelligence." Instead, I showed her what happens when a boring, passive computer programmer decides to solve a problem. I finished my drink. She wanted drama. I gave her consequences. And now I'm exactly what I told her I was. Free. We walked out together into the October night. The air was crisp with the promise of winter, but also the possibility of spring beyond that. Behind us, the Zenith Resort glowed against the darkness, its windows reflecting nothing but empty light.